My struggle with productivity probably began before I realized it was a struggle with productivity. Meaning I've always been a high achiever. I've always been somebody who wants to get things done. I've always been driven. I've always liked the feeling of accomplishment, right? We all feel this. This isn't anything abnormal, anything crazy. But for me, I could never really tell why I would finish certain things and not other things. I wrote a symphony when I was 17. I was in high school. I was studying composition at UTSA here down in San Antonio. And I wrote and finished and had performed an entire symphony, full orchestra. It was my dream project. It was something that I wanted to get done, and I did it. And so I carried that with me through college thinking, I know I can achieve things. That's a big deal, right? Who writes symphonies, right? Only nerds. But I couldn't apply the same level of productivity to things that I didn't care about, right? I would work on a project for biology class or whatever the thing was that I didn't care about. And I just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't get done. I was the guy in the group project, so all the group hated me because I was just like, you guys will do all the work for me, we'll turn it in and I'll get an A. That wasn't productive. And I could never figure out what the difference was. I used to think that it was about caring. I used to think it was, I have to care about the project. I have to really, really buy in to the project. I'm going to give you the secret of productivity, but it's not the usual repackaged productivity advice. Let's get a to-do list. Let's get a task manager. Let's put it on the calendar. If it's not on your calendar, it's not getting done. It's not the app, the program, the calendar, the checklist, the to-do list. It's not deep work like Cal Newport would have us believe. It's not time blocking. All of those things are not it. The reason you're not productive or as productive as you'd like to be. Okay, and I'm talking to myself here, right? The reason I wasn't as productive as I thought wasn't some tool that I was missing. Just like in book marketing, we always want it to be another ad platform. The reason my books aren't selling is because I haven't figured out Facebook ads or Amazon, and I know that's the secret. Maybe the book just sucks, right? Maybe you're just not that good of a writer. Anyway, but that's not what we're talking about. Productivity is the same way, right? We always think maybe if I use OmniPlan or OmniOutliner or things or read Stephen Covey over again or getting things done, right? That's not it. I'm good at a lot of things and I'm interested in everything, and that's a problem for people who like to be productive because everything becomes a project, right? Everything becomes something we can achieve, something we can accomplish, something we can build, a symphony we can write. The challenge is not how to care about certain things because we all care about the things that are important. The secret, if you will, the big hack that I'm going to dump on you guys today is energy management is the secret to productivity. You have to manage your energy. You have to manage your energy. You have to be able to deal with how your energy is generated, how you go through the day and remain energized or re-energize yourself to stay productive. And only then will those tools that you choose, the apps, the systems, the processes, the calendars, the desk stuff that you write on, whatever it is, all of that stuff will work only if you are good at managing your energy. And the reason this is a hack, the reason I'm bringing it up and talking about it now, and it's so important to me and forefront in my mind, is because we often forget about this. We often just blow past this and talk about productivity. We always blow past energy management as if it's this thing we all just do. And whatever energy we have when we wake up in the morning is what we got, right? And yep, that sucks if you don't have any, but you got to be productive, so you better just jump in, have that discipline, rise and grind, right? That's just not true. It's just not true. So if you're thinking, oh, but I don't sleep well and I'm tired, and yeah, I know, me too. Everybody's the same way, right? But if you can get better at energy management, everything else will fall into place for productivity. Everything else. You already know the tools to use, right? You already know how to write. You already know how to do that. This is about energy management because energy management is really where productivity starts and ends. I've got a way to do this that you can adopt it, you can change it, you can do your own, you can throw mine out the window and say, it doesn't work for me, but I want you to hear this. I want to challenge you with thinking of your energy in a way that you can affect. Specifically, you can affect change in that energy. If you don't have enough of it in a certain aspect, we'll talk about the 4 aspects of it. If you don't have enough of it in a certain area, you can get more. You can manifest more. You can create more. You can generate more. What I want you to take away is that wherever you are right now, you can get better. You can be better. You can be even more productive. If you're here because you're thinking, man, I just can't seem to get it together. I got this book and this project, and I just don't care about it. I'm missing deadlines. I got 8 kids and 9 spouses. You got all this kind of stuff going on in your life. I just can't seem to be productive. You can also get better, okay? You're not going to be perfect, but you can start practicing these things. There's a framework that you can use. It's the same one I use every single day. You know, it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, but I couldn't really pinpoint why productivity was working or when it was working, why it was, until very recently. So I've just started to try to hack this into a framework. There are different areas of energy that we can be managing and maintaining, okay? And those 4 are really important because they all go together. If one of these 4 is lacking, it seems like all of our productivity goes away. So our energy, the way I'm defining it, comes in 4 main areas. And those 4 areas are emotional energy, physical energy, spiritual energy, mental energy. These are the 4 areas where I have to make sure if I'm on my game, these 4 areas are on point. These 4 areas of energy are firing on all cylinders, if you will. They're generating energy for me in all 4 of these ways, okay? So everything I talk about after, just think back to these 4: emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental. Not in any particular order, they're just that those are the 4 big ones, okay? First of all, and this isn't going to be a surprise to anybody, but you have to wake up, period. End of story. You have to wake up. You've managed to wake up. Congratulations. Hardest part of the day is done. What's to learn? Again, you can get better. You can improve. So wherever you are right now, however you feel right now, tomorrow, challenge yourself to wake up even better. What do I mean by that? You might be asking. We've all heard this, right? We need to work on the most important task when we first wake up. We need to jump in and use that we have the most motivation or pool of energy right when we wake up, and so we need to jump into the first most important task that we have to accomplish. That's false, okay? I just don't believe that at all. I don't think that's true. It's not bad advice that you should work on stuff when you have the most energy for the thing that you're supposed to be working on, but it's just oversimplified advice, right? Instead, I like to work on myself first thing in the morning because I don't wake up well. Waking up well involves making sure that I'm taking care of those 4 areas. It's usually going to be 20 minutes at least of working on these 4 areas. And so an example is for the mental energy to wake up well, I like to start by reading 20 or 30 minutes. I might just lay in bed. And yeah, I know I'm not supposed to grab my phone first thing in the morning, but I like to read. And so if I can read on my phone without even getting out of bed, this is a great way for me to balance and generate some of that mental energy first thing. I also write in a journal every morning. I use an app called Day One on the Mac because it's nice and pretty, and that's pretty much all it takes to get me on board. Mental energy is generated for me by reading or writing in a journal or both. For emotional energy, it's very simple, being with people we love. If you live alone, you can go text a friend in the morning. You can go jump on Facebook, join the group. And I'm not making light of this, but we often don't fill up our emotional energy reservoir, and we don't realize that it's been empty for a little while. This is a hard truth for some of you, I get that. But you know who it is that can help fill that. And you need to make sure that you're doing daily touch points. It doesn't mean it's not the same person every day necessarily, but daily you need to be filling your emotional reservoir. I use the example of people we love because that's the quickest way emotionally that I can replace my energy. For spiritual, this is also pretty obvious what it's going to be for you. I, in the past, have struggled really bad with anxiety. And for me, a way to attack that and use that energy for good as instead of a force of evil that clawing away at my brain was meditation. I'm also a believer, and prayer was a way that helped me as well. You can do whatever you want, but you have to fill that spiritual reservoir in the morning as well. And then finally, taking a walk, I mentioned, that's the physical side. There's the productivity advice. People will wake up and you got to do 20 jumping jacks because you get your heart rate going, or it has to be a 20-ounce glass of water because that's going to really get your immune system up to speed and your vascular system and health all going, and it's going to jumpstart your heart. None of that's wrong. But what they're really getting at, this is what took me so long to identify, was that they're talking about waking up well and setting the standard for the rest of the day in these 4 areas: emotional, spiritual, mental, physical. So that is how you do the morning well. You just have to think through those 4. And like I said, it's going to take probably 20 to 30 minutes minimum, but you need to build that time in. If you're not doing that, if you're just waking up, rolling out of bed, throwing the shoes on, hope you put pants on, go to work, you're not waking up as well as you could. And I want to challenge you, the next time you fall asleep, wake up well. Promise yourself, give yourself that gift of waking up well by managing your energy and setting the standard for the rest of the day, because it is so profound. It is so powerful to do that. Ask me how I know. The second mandate I'm going to give you is to build necessity. It's just a reminder of why. That's what I mean when I say necessity. A reminder of why we do the things that we do. And I don't mean holistically, and that's helpful, right? Like, why am I an author? Why do I exist? I'm talking about the practical, nitty-gritty, every single thing on your calendar, every single task you're about to chunk off and do. You got to ask yourself why it's there. And you got to know why it's there. And only by asking those questions will you truly know the necessity of that thing. If the necessity isn't there, why are you doing the thing, right? We get to put this stuff on our calendar and decide what we're doing on our own. No one tells us what to do. No one comes and says, hey, I need you to finish this. The necessity we feel like is already baked in because we're the ones that decided this was necessary to do. However, it's not a good way to manage your energy and thus be productive if you haven't identified the true, real why in that moment before you do the thing. Finishing the next book is necessary. If I want to release a book, I got to write the dang book, right? So that's necessary. But it doesn't help me to just know that at some point, an arbitrary date in the future, I need to have written a book in order for me to have written a book. It's important for me to know if I'm about to sit down and write that I know why. It hacks our brain into thinking, why am I doing these things when I do them? Is this habitual? Is there a better habit that we can be putting in place here? Do I really want to be using this feeling that I have, this emotional state that I've got right now to do this thing, this task? Or would it be better to wait until I got to drive across town to pick the kids up or something and I can dictate then? Let me do another task at this point. We start to think through that kind of stuff more because we're being very purposeful about it. And what happens is that this generates really good energy for us during the day. You know that when you write at certain times, the writing just doesn't work as well. It's not as good, right? It's harder. It's weirder. You got to delete it all and start over. Those are moments when your energy for that particular task doesn't match that task. The necessity isn't there. So you start to short circuit that by literally asking yourself, why am I doing this right now? I know I need to write the book. Why right now do I think I need to write this book? Is it because I've decided that between 11 and 12, I've got my best energy going for me and that's when I should be writing this book? If so, great. You've built necessity and you should do that. A lot of times we come up to a task and if we do this well, we're building necessity and we realize that 11 to 12 really is actually when we should be eating lunch. Calling our mom on the phone or whatever the thing is, that feeling that we've got in that moment, the energy that we've got right there is best spent on something different. It's just building necessity. Purpose might be another word you could use for that, but it's really just asking yourself, why is this particular task necessary in this particular moment? You can get really good at this, and pretty soon you start shifting things around on your calendar and organizing your to-dos and your checklists for those times. And so you can start time blocking, knowing that not only is this feels like a good time to be doing my important work, but I also know, because I've got data now. I know myself, and I know that this is when I should be doing this type of thing, because I know. But even then, I'm still going to ask every single time, why is this necessary right now? Lastly, this is really cool. This is something I picked up from a guy named Brendan Burchard. He's come up with this idea of tension-intention cycles. This is a great hack. This is an awesome way to maintain energy or generate that energy at points throughout the day. So just like the wake up well, you need 20 minutes at least, tension-intention cycles feels like it's cutting away from time doing your tasks because you're literally task switching and taking a pause before each one. But trust me, this is super powerful. Here's how it works. This is a brief meditation. Try to do this out loud because this is a really cool way of, again, just short-circuiting everything going on in your big old brain that your brain box just wants you to do something different. And this is just a great way of forcing it to focus on a certain thing. Here's how it works. Before every task, before you jump into every single thing that you do, especially when you're task switching, you're checking email and you want to jump into writing, whatever the task switching is, or if you're just writing and you want to take a break and then write again, this is a great thing to do. I recommend building it into every single block in your calendar before you start. But here's how it works. Take 2 minutes, start with 2 minutes, close your eyes, and just say, release. Take a breath and say out loud, release. Nice and slow, take long pauses, deep breaths. You're not hyperventilating here, folks, but just take a break and say the word release. While you're saying that word release, the first minute, you are thinking of the tension that may have built up in the previous task, the previous thing that you were doing. You're answering emails, you get mad, as per my previous request. You release that tension before going into the next task. And by doing it out loud, by closing your eyes, you're changing your physical state so that your mental and emotional and spiritual state can follow along. So there's the 4 energies. Close your eyes, say release for 1 whole minute, then keep doing it. But the second minute of the 2 minutes, while you're saying release, you are thinking of setting intention for the next task. So the first minute, you're releasing the tension of the previous one. And then the second minute, you are setting intention. You're being intentional. Before you even do the thing, you're being intentional about that thing. This is so profoundly powerful. Trust me, it works. It's so powerful to actually release whatever crap we got carrying, even if we don't think we're building tension because the task that we did was good. Hey, I did that. I turned that into the boss. I checked it off the list. That's great. Release that because you're done. Go to the next thing and build and set intention in the next thing before you even do the thing. And guess what? The thing that you're about to do is going to feel easier. You're going to build less tension doing that thing because you set the intention before. The idea is you're physically hacking your mental state here. You're physically forcing your brain to focus on the thing that you want your brain to be doing. We're all so smart that we try to outsmart ourselves. I was talking specifically with this person about anxiety that they were dealing with and I have dealt with in the past. It's so true that I can teach you about anxiety. I know all the things about anxiety. I'm like a master at anxiety. I'm the most anxious person ever. I know exactly what anxiety is like, and I know all the tools to fix it. So let me just blah, 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 blah. Here, think of it like a cloud going through the sky, and your brain is the sky, and it's going to pass. I know all those things, and I can teach you all those things. What happens then? When I'm feeling anxious, I don't do any of the things, right? I know all the things. I can teach you the things. But I'm trying to outsmart myself. My brain's going, well, yeah, but we already know the things, and I'm feeling anxious anyway, which means none of the things work. I'm too smart for this. This is dumb. I'm not going to do any of the things. I'm just going to sit here and be anxious all the time. That's pretty stupid, isn't it? But I'm stupid. Unfortunately, you're stupid in the same way. You're really smart, and what you will try to do is outsmart yourself. You will think, I know Nick talked about energy, and I know there's these 4 ways of building energy, and I know that I'm supposed to wake up well, and I know, and I know, and I know. And then you won't do those things, because you try to outsmart yourself. And so by doing these little cycles, by forcing yourself to build necessity, waking up well, of course, and this physical act of taking a brief 2-minute meditation before you jump into the next thing, forces your brain to just go away for a minute. Just physically says, hey, body, I'm in charge right now. I'm just going to say this thing. And what that does, it just short circuits your mind, and all of a sudden your brain's like, hey, that was really cool. I'm glad you did that. Thanks, man. I'm not a scientist. I don't know why that works, but I think that's true. I believe our emotional state is set not by just a trigger, like a feeling, but by a choice. The triggers still happen. Somebody's going to piss you off, cut you off on the road, whatever it is. How we react is a choice. How we respond is a choice. Our emotional state is a choice. That's pretty powerful to take away. If you're an Enneagram person, I'm an 8, which just basically all the books say, oh, 8, you're just mad all the time. Man, yeah, that's true. And so I have to choose to not be that way. All the things still make me mad, but I have to just choose, this isn't going to piss me off. Not this time. The point is, all of these are examples of how I build energy. All of these things are examples of how I believe you can benefit from energy production throughout the day, whether it's waking up first thing or taking a break in the middle of the day and building some intention or necessity in your job. I recommend trying this out, because once you've developed your own framework or used mine and you've gotten good at it, you will be more productive. Because you already know all the things. This is another example of outsmarting yourself. You already know all the things to do, right? I'm really good at organization. I'm really good at admin. I'm really good at planning. I'm really good. But I'm just not getting the right stuff done. Why is that? You're not building energy the right way. That's it. I truly believe that. That's it. Because you already know the stuff. I'm not going to teach you, oh, here's getting things done 2.0 Nick version. That's helpful, but that's not what you need, I believe. What you need is energy management specifically. Those are the 3 ways. Let me say this too. What we feel is based on what we think. That's the whole trigger leads to the emotion, right? I know that. But what we think is based on what we believe. Something has happened that causes you to believe something, and it's so far removed from how we feel that we don't know it's based on a belief. Energy management is the same way. I believe that I don't sleep well. So guess what? I feel tired all the time. I believe that I need to drink energy drinks 24/7. Or I won't have energy, or whatever the thing is. I believe that I need to work out, so I feel like working out. So what we're doing is we just are recognizing the steps that it took to get to the way we feel. Energy management comes down to that. So if you believe that you can affect your own change in energy management world, spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, if you believe that you can affect those changes, then you will feel more energetic. You'll get more done. I hope that serves you. Hey, this works. This is good. I didn't need to, let me just get a desk calendar and that's going to be the secret. No, you guys already know that. What you might be missing, if you're like me and you've been like, yeah, I've been really productive and I've been unproductive and I couldn't really figure out why, I believe it was probably the energy. I think whatever you're capable of doing, you should push yourself and do that. Every single day you should do that. But that's not it. That's just one. How is your mental energy game? How is your emotional energy game? How is your spiritual energy game? Men especially, because I talk to a lot of dudes and this is not the one that we like the most. Our physical energy game is on point, right? Well, I'm gonna go lift all the weights, let's go play hockey, whatever it is. Great, that's cool. You're doing your thing, man. But hey, your spiritual energy and sometimes your emotional energy, these are the ones that you're gonna be watching out for, because if you're not building that stuff, if you're not focusing on that, practicing how to build that, you're not gonna get any better at it. And if you don't get any better at it, not gonna be as productive.